Okay, let's jump right in with a bit of a review on our techniques and our gap assignments. So what we have here on the offensive side of the ball, power I left formation, that would put us into our defensive strong right call, which would be a Ringo call. So let's jump right in. On either side of the center, that's our A gaps. Between the guards and the tackles, we have our B gaps. Between the tackles and the tight ends, we have our C gaps. And outside of the tight ends, we have our D gaps. So this is very crucial for us to understand our gaps and our gap assignments. We are a gap-oriented defense. So know these gap assignments and know exactly where your gap assignment is on each and every call. All right, so let's continue on our techniques. These are the alignments. This is very crucial. Your A in SAKR, SAKR, stands for alignment. So again, as a recap, stance, alignment, key, and responsibility. These are the alignments, also known as techniques. Your zero technique is head up over the center. This would be for our nose guard. Head up over the guard is a two tech or a two technique. Head up over the tackle would be a four tech or a four technique. And head up over the tight ends would be a six tech. So we're not always going to line up head on with the opposing offensive player across from us. So we've got some additional techniques that I'll dive into right now. So shaded to either side of the center if you are the nose guard. So a shade technique is another term for positioning yourself where your shoulder is either lined up across from the shoulder of the opposing offensive player across from you. So you may not always be lined up head to head. You might be lined up shoulder to shoulder. So these are shade techniques. So your one technique would be a shade to either side of the center. A three technique would be a shade to the outside shoulder of the guard. A five tech would be a shade to the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle. Well, how about if we shade to the inside? What happens? So we place an I for inside. So 2I if you're on the inside of the guard, 4I that's inside of the offensive tackle. There's no I if you're the defensive end. It's called a 7 technique. So shaded to the inside of the tight end is a 7 tech. And we'll mostly be playing our defensive ends to the outside shoulder for contained purposes in a 9 technique. So if you play defensive end and you hear the term 9 tech, that is most likely where you will be. You will not always be lined up head to head over a tight end. You'll be in a 9 tech most of the time in our defense. Okay, so that's just a quick recap on our gaps and our techniques. Okay, so let's take a look and see what this looks like as a nose guard and a tackle that are head up in a 0 tech and a 4 tech. Okay, you might also be shaded, as noted by the yellow boxes here, in a 1 tech. Shaded to the left, shaded to the right in a 1 tech. Same thing goes with the defensive tackle in the yellow boxes. I might be in a 4I, you might be in a 5 tech. Okay, so these are the shading techniques. Head up, 1 tech if you're nose. Head up, 4 tech, 4I, and a 5 tech if you're a defensive tackle in our 5-3 defense, which we'll get into in some future slides here. Okay, so let's see what this looks like here. We've got a shading technique to our strong side, which would put our nose guard in a 1 tech. We would put our defensive tackle in a 5 tech, and you're responsible for the gap across from you. So you're not taking on a block from the opposing offensive player across from you. You are responsible for that gap. So nose guard's responsible for the A gap in this call. Defensive tackle would be responsible for the C gap in this particular defensive call. That's a quick recap of techniques and gaps. Thank you very much.